Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this latest episode of the Holyoke High School Herald Knightrider Podcast. We are currently in the Holyoke Public Schools Media Center, and we welcome you for this very special edition of the podcast where we are joined by Holyoke Mayoral candidate Mike Sullivan. So I am Patrick Sweeney. I am the co-editor of the Holyoke High Herald, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, I'm Samantha Brennan. I am the digital editor of the Herald, and I am very excited to be here as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Taleshka and I am a writer for the Herald, and I'm also to be excited here.
And I'm Mike Sullivan, city councilor and mayoral candidate, and I graduated from here 49 years ago.
Hi, I'm Conrad Broderick. I'm the head photographer and the podcast editor for the Holyoke High Herald.
Hi, I'm Annalise. I'm the co-editor and the sports editor for the Herald.
Hi, I'm Nevaeh. I'm the podcast editor and Instagram manager for the Herald.
So we wanted to kind of set this up as like an informal discussion with everyone where we kind of ask Mr. Sullivan different questions and kind of get to know him better, and as well as getting the community to know him so that they're more informed as the election draws nearer. So we wanted to start off by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up? What are some of your favorite hobbies? Some family life that you can tell us about?
Yep. Well, I grew up right up the street from here on Franklin, corner of Franklin and Magnolia, and graduated from here in '72. Ran cross country. Wasn't big enough to play football or basketball. And right after I graduated, I joined the Air National Guard out in Westfield. And shortly after that, went to Bentley College down in Waltham. And started my own business while I was in college. And we did well. That took precedence. But believer in lifelong education, and got back into it and finally graduated from UMass, and currently working now on a master's degree in architectural preservation. And I've been on the city council for 6 years now, with most of my time on all my time on the finance committee, and also the Community Preservation Act committee, and what they call the CBDG, which is a community block grant development. So that's pretty much it.
What are some positive and negative things that you like and dislike about our city?
Well, the positive things I really like, the diversity of our city has always been great. Even when I was back in the 70s, to me it was always a welcoming city. Something we've always prided ourselves on. I like the history, a lot of the architecture of the city. Our closeness to nature here, what we have in the Mount Tom Reservation, the reservoirs, our proximity to other venues close by, up in Vermont or New Hampshire. I think we're in a great location. The things for me that have been disappointing is the decline of job opportunities in the city, the tragic results of our opioid epidemic and its effect on the city. These are tough things to combat. They were here when I was a youth also, but they're much worse now than they ever were.
So following up on that response, what are a couple things that you would like to improve on?
Well, I think we need to get more help to people that are suffering from addiction. At the same time, we have to do it in a manner that doesn't hurt the rest of the population, or where people have become a threat to themselves, to find other resources and other programs to get them into and help them on their road to recovery. That number one. I think that's, as far as that topic goes, yeah.
I agree.
Thanks.
And what is your favorite part about being a Holyoker?
Just the people. Really the people. It's a great city. I've always enjoyed. I'm a lifelong Holyoker. I've stayed in Holyoke all my life. I have had an opportunity to travel. I've been a lot of foreign countries, as far south as Argentina, Chile, over to Europe, off the coast of Africa, Tenerife, small island. And you meet a lot of people from around the world, but I've still always come back to Holyoke. So.
Any more questions? So, I suppose, what made you want to run for this candidate, or as candidate?
Well, that's a great one. It's a complicated one. 6 years on the city council, and working on the finance committee and what we call the development and government relations committee. So, get to do an in-depth dive of the city budget. That's one of the things the council does. We can't make appropriations. We can't make out the budget. All we can do is cut from the budget. And we can't move stuff from one line item to another line item. And seeing things allocated differently and not being able to do anything about it was one of the driving factors, that if I was going to continue along this road and try and, I think, accomplish some of the things that we need to get done in this city, it had to be done from room one, what we call it, the mayor's office. So.
Nice.
What are your thoughts about the state receivership over Holyoke Public Schools?
All right. Receivership, I think, has been an absolute disaster. All right?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I don't think anybody knows how to deal with local problems better than the local people. And Holyoke's a unique city. It's always been a unique city. And to have someone from outside the city telling us how to run things, I think, was a huge mistake. As mayor, I would be the chairman of the school committee, and one thing I can tell all the students and all the citizens of Holyoke is I will never miss a school committee meeting.
So what do you have planned in the future when it comes to the school committee and the students of all of the high schools, elementary schools, and any public school in this area?
Well, right now I've also been, I didn't mention this in the first go-around, I've been on the school building committee for the new middle school. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a model we really have to get back to. It wasn't anything, I think it was over 25 years ago now that they got away from that model. A lot of cities throughout the country did that. And we were one of the last cities to do it, and now it seems like we're one of the last cities to come back to that model. So I'm very thrilled about our opportunity to get back to a middle school model. The rest of it, more community engagement on the part of the school committee, and more outreach program. We have to develop more after-school activities. I think we have some great resources, both not only for after school, but for preparing students for the future. We have great programs with Homework House, the Boys Club, Enlace Familias, and I want to say the YMCA also really focus on some of these also as an integral part of getting the system back on track, and also holding the state accountable. Tell us what the metrics are. Tell us what the goals are that we have to achieve to take back ownership. So.
That's good. I was wondering, specifically with downtown, I was wondering how you were going to kind of combat the issue of a lot of like empty storefronts, and I feel like that's been a big topic of discussion lately. I just was wondering if you had thoughts on that.
Yeah. So empty storefronts, they get empty in the first place, right? Because people aren't coming downtown, right? And we have issues there, and it ties back to what we talked about a little bit earlier, right? With drug addiction, homelessness, blight, poverty. So we have to address these issues head on. And we've always been a caring community, but by the same token, we have to start just enforcing some of the existing codes and ordinances. If someone has an open alcoholic beverage container, if they're sitting on a corner drinking, it's a bad look for the city. It's a bad look for people. If you're trying to open a business, it's a bad look for trying to get people to come downtown, isn't it? So it's issues like that. We have other programs available too that are great programs, and trying to get businesses to take advantage of it through our CPA committee and that CDBG that we mentioned earlier. We have grants for small businesses for facade improvement, programs like this. So I think I think there's a lot of good stuff going on downtown, a lot more than I've seen in recent years, and we've got to capitalize on it and give these people an opportunity to succeed.
Do you have any plans to do so or to fix the issues downtown? Like, any thoughts on that?
Well, like I just mentioned, code enforcement would be a great place to start. Getting the downtown looking good again, making it attractive for people and safe for people to come back downtown, promoting it. We've had some great events there the last couple of weeks. I don't know how many got out on High Street for the event there. It was 2 Saturdays ago now, but that was one of the best things I've seen in a long time. Really getting out and promoting other resources we have. The Volleyball Hall of Fame. I mentioned earlier about travel. Argentina, Chile, Brazil. People from these countries are big on volleyball. And they have a tourism industry. And you know where they go? Can I ask any of you? Where would you think people from South America, from these countries go?
I'm assuming they come here. They want to go.
Well, where do you think in the United States they go? What's one of the number one tourist destinations for somebody from Buenos Aires or Rio de Janeiro? Bingo. New York City. Right? I mean, that kind of blew my mind. I thought it would be like Yosemite, right?
Yeah.
Or the Grand Canyon. It's New York City. And we have high-speed rail from New York right to 1 block from our Arts and Entertainment District and our Volleyball Hall of Fame. If we were to promote it within the tourist industry down there, even if it's a 1-day package, on your trip to New York City, come up to Holyoke. Just outside the box thinking like this, and there's a lot of other ideas floating around out there too, and just think outside the box.
Switching topics, what do you think sets you apart from your opponent and past opponents?
You can say it in one word: experience. All right. I've been on the council for 6 years, and like I said, it's all been on the finance committee and the community development block grant committee. But I built my own business from scratch. We did almost $30 million a year. We had international sales. It's in an industry that's not too big anymore. One of the companies was Kodak. Does anybody know who Kodak is anymore?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But not what they used to be. But the experience of running a business, managing a budget, 6 years on the council, seeing the city's finances, the $150 million budget that we work with every year, right? Seeing the other issues with funding and the allocation of resources. It's been a hands-on experience, and I'll let it go at that. So.
Do you think growing up in Holyoke helps you in any way?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll just share a few things with you all. When I was growing up in this neighborhood here, we had 7 youth football teams. All right, we had church league CYO. We had for basketball. Every single church had a basketball team. We had I don't know how many little league teams and stuff. It was just amazing. And for me, getting back to that kind of an environment where we have the extracurricular activities, and not just in sports, but in other venues at all as well. I mean, I even look at this room right here. Boy, this is state of the art. This is future technology. This is great stuff. I'm so glad to see something like this going on at the high school level. I think, I'm not sure, but is that a 16 millimeter reel up there in the wall? Yeah. So it's this kind of engagement that I really enjoy.
What are your plans on bringing back more of that engagement to the city?
Well, like I've said, I'll see what we can do, through the schools itself, through the school programs, through the school committee, but also just reallocating some of the resources that are spent other places, getting the parks back in good condition, and supporting the places and organizations that sponsor events like this. And even you're making me dig way back in the memory banks here, but hiking, outdoor activities, taking advantage. I've over the years worked with dozens of youth here at the high school that didn't even know where the Mount Tom Reservation was. Had never really explored too much out beyond even the boundaries here of Holyoke. So, programs that expand horizons, opportunities like that, to me would be wonderful to expand on.
Yeah, on a different note, how do you think you're going to handle the COVID situation in the city? I feel like that's something that we all need to discuss. And it's been so long and we're still in the middle of it, so I'm just curious about that.
Yeah. I think I had this question yesterday in another forum, but I've always led by example. So even though I had COVID really early on, I went ahead and got vaccinated. And I'm not a big one on seeing doctors with needles, but I went ahead and did it. I think it's our job, especially as city leaders, to lead by example. I think we need all of us to get out there and encourage our fellow citizens, fellow students, everyone to get vaccinated. I'll be the first to tell you it really didn't hurt. I think we're through the worst of it. I'm glad we're still taking the necessary precautions. Precautions don't hurt anybody, and precautions save lives. And the world, the country has been through pandemics before. We'll get through this one. I think we're closer to the end now than we are to the middle. And we'll have learned a lot from it. There's been some neat changes in technology as a result of it. I think we've leapt forward a bit. In some places it might have taken us years. From Zoom meetings to other ways we all interact with each other. So I'll be glad when it's over, though.
Yeah.
And do you have any plans on how you're going to encourage those who are not vaccinated?
Well, like I said, we to lead by example, and for everybody, it's a community effort. As far as promoting it, we get out there, media like this, just hearing this podcast might encourage other people to use every resource we've got, right? Whether it's radio, TV, podcast, talking to your friends, talking to your neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
The sooner we all do it, the sooner we're out of it, right?
Exactly.
So, and I'll be able to see who I'm talking to, and you'll be able to see
Yeah.
me, right?
Exactly. Does anybody else have any other thoughts that we can ask them about?
Should we open it up to the audience
I
and see
think
if they
so.
have any questions?
That's a good idea.
Do you guys have any questions?
Anybody?
Come on, let's hear it out there. I'm not that good.
Any questions, students? I got a couple. Don't worry.
I got a couple of questions.
Okay, yeah.
Interesting.
When are we going to start beating some of these high schools really bad? On the basketball court, on the football field. Let's go, gang.
Yeah, our
Come on.
basketball team is good. Don't ask me about football, though.
Yeah, I can tell you from what I've seen, it's a little disappointing on the football team, but
Yeah.
we've got
But,
next
hey,
year.
that goes back into integrating your youth programs. That'll help up
Right.
at the high school level.
Yeah.
Auburn Sports Complex, best football field in Western Mass. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got that.
but
You know it's being sued.
everybody, let's get out there and encourage the team. Now, we still got some season left. Let's get out there and cheer them on.
Show up to senior night.
And the
Great
Thanksgiving
coaches,
Day game
got a
is
great
home this
group
year.
of players out there. We'll get some wins. I'm confident about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And don't you worry about basketball. I'm sure we got that in the back.
basketball is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
All right.
For sure. If you want to see a good game, come here.
Yeah, well, I happen to know all the coaches. So.
So you already touched on this, but how long do you think it will take to transition out of receivership, and what are your plans for that transition? It's been on a lot of people's minds.
I don't know until I get a chance myself, as the chair of the school committee, to sit down with DESE, with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, and confront them one-on-one and find out what the metrics are. I have a lot of confidence in Anthony Soto, great person. I've known him for years and years and years, a product of the Holyoke schools. I think if anyone can help lead us out of it, it's going to be Anthony.
Yeah.
And you also touched on the transportation question that I had, but I think we have a great resource here with Amtrak stopping, like you said, it's just one block from the Volleyball Hall of Fame, right?
Right?
And that train, you can stay on that train all the way to Penn Station, New York. So those people from South America that want to see the Volleyball Hall of Fame, it's a 3-hour trip at the most, I think.
Yep.
I take that trip a lot. And my question is, at the moment, I think there's only 3 trains in each direction going through. I've taken that train to New York a lot. That station in Holyoke is like literally one of the nicest, newest stations. It's small, but it's nice. So are there any plans to get more trains up between Springfield and Greenfield? Because I've heard that for years, and nothing seems to have happened yet with that.
Yeah, I really don't have the answer for that. All I can say is that I'm absolutely in support of it. This much I can tell you. It's going to depend on ridership. And if they start seeing more activity in Holyoke, I'm sure they're out there to make money and service it too. They'll put on more. They'll stop more often, or they'll run more frequently. But,
Great like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Anything else anybody wants to discuss before we wrap up? Anything to ask Mr. Sullivan?
What's your favorite local spot to go for? Like a nice lunch, breakfast, dinner?
oh, I can't promote any one place. We've got so many good spots now.
True.
Especially in the last 2 years, so many have opened up, from even the food trucks around town.
They're great.
Some of them are great. We've got new places that have opened up on High Street, Lechonera, Columbiana there. Cayanelli's, I mean, you name it. I don't know if anybody's even been, we've got a new bagel place.
Yes.
I've
And
been there. It's pretty good.
I was down there the other day, I'm waiting in line, and the person in front of me had come from Agawam to downtown Holyoke to buy bagels. So, you know,
That's a good way to attract people not from the area.
yeah.
Excellent.
And they're saying, oh, wow, look at the merry-go-round, look at this. I didn't know this was here. They see this on their way in and out. So even a small bagel shop can do something to, you know, promote our downtown.
Any little thing helps.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. So, yeah, we'll wrap up then. We really appreciate you tuning in to this special edition of the Knightrider Podcast, and we thank Mr. Mike Sullivan and his team for being able to come, and we know you have a really busy schedule, and it's getting really close to election, but we're really happy you were able to join us, and we appreciate your talking and your comments, and we were able to, you know, talk about various issues and some fun stuff too, so that was good. So we look forward to seeing everyone else again on the next edition of the Knightrider Podcast, but that's all for today from the Holyoke Public Schools Media Center. Thanks again, everyone.
And thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.